The workplace is a setting where I know I cannot fully be myself. This supersedes any of my prior outward statements and is 100% generated from me, and you'll understand why in a moment. I'm looking through chronic pain in the act of conversing with anyone. So being me would show the pain that I'm feeling unconsciously and randomly, and I cannot tolerate that. This double-edged sword is swift, guaranteed, and wielded by a master. The one side is to do so invites further humiliation, confirmation that I'm weak, ineffectual, and expired. The other side is the fact most people have very fragile ears, and on hearing one with chronic pain they understand, those ears will avoid hearing anything like that again. So, connection is impossible with all but a select few, those who have a family member or something themselves that resonates and harmonizes as birds of a feather. They can listen to occasional references to challenges. They have tough ears. I am an actor, always performing when engaged with others, so as not to challenge their fragile ears. This performance costs me dearly. Faking tends to do that. When I'm around those who resonate with me, the relaxing break of losing the pretense is obvious, kind of like the sigh my dog makes when it lays down. Anyone who's ever performed knows the expense it exacts on their energy. No matter if the performance was good or bad, this cost comes from projecting an avatar and expending a large amount of energy to do so. The label disabled is abstract enough to pass for okay or ignorable in most people's eyes, and this is ideal. Saying anything more risks the recourse outlined above. I've been trained by culture to be an actor. It has come to my attention the cost of performing this ruse, and it must change. What's happening in the present causes a significant trauma. I'm talking about current times for me. Being routinely cross-examined because I'm seeking help for an involuntary chronic pain condition originating from a traumatic brain injury at birth demonstrates just how alien I am to my fellow humans. It's isolating and crushing any hope for a relationship with all but a few kind souls who won't run at the mention of pain. It's not as if I'm bringing this message in the costume of a whiny, pity-seeking weakling that wants the attention of others and is putting on a show. I'm the opposite. I'm humble, strong, stoic, referencing the reality that I'm facing and commenting on it and then moving on. The delivery is the syringe for the message which is so allergenic to others. That being a stoic delivery. So, hopefully, I'm not coloring the presentation, and that's the problem. I've tried to ensure that I'm being as dispassionate as possible in any conversation. Simply, the mention of pain repels a good majority of the people I engage with professionally, and it is a fact I regularly witness. To those I tell my story to, and that person gets it, I'm always struggling with this, and it's not something that they can or wish to comprehend. It's when they accept my experience is far worse than normal aches, which I have. All other maladies pale in comparison to my neck. As a reference, I have a tattooed bodysuit, from the collarbones to the wrist and ankles. Come on. I know pain well. I cannot work in a company where 50% or more of the people who know me avoid me because I am unable to hide my reality any longer. I made the decision to step back when I recognized it was no longer tenable to go on stage. When my performance began to breach lower control limits in my historical track record, it was the only ethical decision I could make. Take care of yourself, man. Conserve what's left and attempt to cultivate what's needed for your wife, if for nothing else. Do your best to share your story, and maybe, just maybe, you can leave some good by shining a light on humanity's aversion to those who experience extremes and deconstruct the fear, loathing, and begin to halt the tribal aversion to not being normal. I hope this is understandable. I have a condition with no physician diagnosis. I provided the diagnosis to my physician. That was on me. I had to diagnose myself, and then I had to find a neurologist who concur with my findings. Only then could we begin Botox treatments, and we maxed out from the start. I am a one of one, extremes at every junction, and I have no desire to be so. The reality of being damaged at birth, cursed with a wicked, sharp mind and a broken body that's fought me since I was 16 years old, is at times intolerable. Think of it as a moderate cramp, like a Charlie horse in the neck that's just about to go off, but below the cramp threshold of white light pain. This metaphor has worked for me, and now imagine it for a month, or a year, or a decade. Yeah. I refuse to stop fighting, but the fight has excised its cost. I will happily submit to physical contact tests because I've had to prove myself since I was 16. Come on, feel the tangerine in the dude's neck. Accusation is traumatic. There's no way around it. Faker, psychosomatic syndrome, idiopathic neuropathy with depression, drug seeker. At one point in my journey, these labels were applied to me by the medical establishment for the crime of being unique. Simply because the vast majority of the medical establishment doesn't understand me, nor do they know what to do. Period. I have a consistent record of commenting on the severity, duration, and the degrading costs that I'm witnessing from the condition that is causing chronic neck pain in my adult life. This is my reality. Who would make this up? I'm a fiction author, and I reject my own reality. I welcome examination if it will alter the perception. But until then, I'll remain a happy, hermetical, and misunderstood singular person. I just hope the universe in its mercy that I'm not an additional burden on my wife financially. She's already a saint, and it'd be too much if I were indigent and a stress on her more than I already am. Hopefully, I'll see the light soon, and it won't be a train. I know this has been a rather blunt presentation of a mental state, if you will, or a complaint, but I don't know any other way to provide it other than just straight ahead. And I also trust that if you're here and you're listening, you're also trying to understand, what does this do to someone? What might it do to me? Can I learn anything from this guy? Hopefully the answer is yes. Hopefully you can say to yourself, regardless of what I'm going through, I can make it. And the severity of what I've got, and I'm speaking of myself, the severity of my condition is nowhere near that of some others. I'm not trying to be the worst. I have no interest. I'm trying to get the small amount of help that I need to be able to proceed on with life and not just curl up in the fetal position and be a burden. The men in my family live to 85, 90. I'm 50. So my hope is that there's some sunrise that's in the horizon that brings fixes that I can't imagine. But until then, I'm going to assume that that doesn't happen, and I've got this thing, and it's going to be with me for the rest. And the only thing you can do is say, what's next? As we do. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you allowing me the time to just understand what's going on with myself, because it's taken decades just to get this much understanding about what's going on. And good God, if I can find more, I'll take it, because the understanding seems to be the only thing that really helps. I'm a fan of Albert Camus' portrayal of the myth of Sisyphus and a happy Sisyphus. Sisyphus was a god that broke the law of the gods and was cursed to roll the boulder up a hill every day and then watch it roll back down that night, only to do it again the next day. The futility of Sisyphus's existence, if not driven home, it should be apparent to anyone who understands the story. Every human being has a Sisyphean journey that they are going on. The severity of those journeys, the types of those journeys, it just spans the gamut. When we hear someone tell of a journey we don't understand or don't believe we could do, our first inclination is to deny that that's possible. And then the next is to say, there's no way I could do it. And I'm here to poke holes in both of those myths. I'm an ordinary guy. Ordinary people can accept extraordinary circumstances. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I'm pretty strong. I'll continue to be, so much as this body will tolerate. And maybe, just maybe, I can find a little help that doesn't add another dependent drug relationship that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. I'd prefer not. But I've tried just about everything. So whatever works wins. Take care, everybody. We'll talk later.